In the dim corridors of history, whispers of untold stories echo. The transatlantic slave trade, a grotesque mosaic of human suffering and exploitation, casts a long shadow over our modern world. Yet beneath the surface of mainstream historical narratives lie submerged truths, personal stories of resilience, pain, and the indomitable human spirit. These are not just tales from the past, they are revelations that demand a reckoning, a call to face the uncomfortable truths of our shared history. This essay ventures into the dark waters of the transatlantic slave trade, not just to explore, but to understand and acknowledge the depth of its impact. In the vast expanse of human history, the transatlantic slave trade stands out as a profoundly disturbing phenomenon. It was not merely a series of transactions, but a devastating human drama that unfolded over centuries. The personal accounts of those who lived through this era provide us with crucial insights into the human condition under extreme duress. Understanding these hidden stories is essential. They compel us to confront the realities of our past, allowing us to forge a more informed and compassionate future. By delving into the personal, we uncover not just facts, but feelings, fear, hope, despair, and resilience. Through these accounts, history is felt, not just learned. They bring texture to the skeletal framework of dates and events, offering a fuller, more human picture of this dark chapter. The seeds of the transatlantic slave trade were sown in the early interactions between Europeans and African kingdoms. These initial contacts, based on trade and diplomacy, gradually morphed into a trade in human lives, fueled by European demand for labor in the New World. African intermediaries played crucial roles, often as both victims and participants. They were caught in the complexities of local power dynamics and the burgeoning European appetite for slaves. This interplay is critical to understanding the multifaceted nature of the trade. The economic motivations were stark. Europe's burgeoning empires, built on the back of industrial revolutions, required vast amounts of labor. This demand gave rise to one of the most horrific chapters in human history, turning a system of local servitude into a global commodity trade. The Middle Passage, the sea journey from Africa to the Americas, stands as a harrowing testament to human cruelty. Conditions aboard the slave ships were beyond inhumane, with individuals packed tightly in chains left to wallow in their own filth and subjected to unimaginable abuses. Survivor accounts from this passage reveal not only the physical torment but also the deep psychological scars left behind. These narratives speak of a journey through hell, marked by widespread disease, starvation, and death, with mortality rates on some ships reaching chilling heights. The sheer scale of suffering during the Middle Passage is a crucial element of the trade's inhumanity. It underscores the relentless brutality of the system and the high human cost of economic gain. Upon arrival in the New World, the life of an enslaved person was one of relentless toil and brutality. The plantations were labor camps where the enslaved were forced to work from dawn till dusk, subjected to harsh discipline and dehumanizing treatment. Despite the oppressive environment, enslaved people found ways to resist. Subtle acts of defiance, from work slowdowns to sabotage, were common. More dramatically, there were uprisings that, although typically quashed, sent shockwaves through the colonies and hinted at the unbreakable spirit of the oppressed. Personal stories from plantations highlight not just survival, but resilience. They tell of communities that managed to nurture hope and solidarity in the most despairing conditions, often against seemingly insurmountable odds. The economic implications of the slave trade were immense. For Europe and the budding American states, the influx of cheap labor fueled economic engines and laid the foundations for their future wealth and development. This system also marked the rise of mercantile capitalism, with the slave trade providing the capital for industrial investments. However, for Africa, the consequences were dire. Economic disarray, depopulation, and a legacy of underdevelopment that haunted the continent for centuries. Understanding the economic dimensions is crucial for grasping the full scope of the trade's impacts, illustrating how deeply the roots of modern economic disparities are entangled with this grim history. One of the most insidious aspects of the slave trade was the systematic attempt to erase the cultural identities of the enslaved. Stripped of their names, languages, and traditions, they were expected to adopt entirely new identities. However, African cultures did not simply vanish. They adapted and survived, melding with indigenous and European elements to create rich, new cultural tapestries. Music, cuisine, religion, and language all bear the marks of this painful but profound synthesis. The survival and transformation of these cultural identities are testament to the resilience and adaptability of the human spirit, offering a counter-narrative to the story of victimhood and loss. The road to abolition was long and fraught with challenges. It was paved by the tireless efforts of both enslaved individuals and allies. Figures such as Olaudah Equiano and Harriet Tubman became icons of resistance, their stories inspiring movements across the globe. The impact of abolition varied widely. In some areas, it led to significant changes in societal structures, while in others, the legacy of slavery continued to influence laws and attitudes for generations. Understanding these movements helps illustrate the complexity of liberation and the varied paths towards freedom. Abolition was not just a legal victory, it was a profound shift in moral and social paradigms. It marked a crucial turning point, but also the beginning of new struggles for true equality and recognition. The psychological legacy of the transatlantic slave trade is a tapestry woven with threads of trauma and resilience. Descendants of the enslaved often carry the weight of this past, a phenomenon sometimes referred to as generational trauma. Psychologists point to patterns of psychological distress that can be traced back to the horrors of slavery, affecting communities decades after the physical chains were broken. Issues such as anxiety, depression, and mistrust can be disproportionately prevalent in these communities, rooted in a history of oppression and marginalization. Recognition of this enduring pain is crucial. It underscores the need for mental health resources and supportive community structures to address these deep-seated issues, fostering healing and empowerment. The conversation about reparations is complex and contentious. It involves acknowledging the economic and psychological damages inflicted by slavery and considering how to address these harms in the present. Globally, various forms of reparative actions have been proposed, from financial compensation to educational and community investments. While progress has been slow, successful examples do exist and offer templates for what reparative justice might look like. Memorials and museums play a pivotal role in this process, serving as spaces for reflection, education, and healing. They help preserve the memory of slavery, ensuring that the lessons learned are not forgotten but serve as a continual reminder and call to action. The legacies of the transatlantic slave trade are evident in many aspects of modern society. Systemic racism, economic disparities, and social inequality can often be traced back to the structures established by slavery. These legacies are not just relics of the past, but active elements that shape lives in societies today. Recognizing these connections is vital for addressing current injustices and moving towards a more equitable society. The journey towards equality and recognition is ongoing. Each step forward is part of a larger effort to rectify historical wrongs and build a future that truly honors the dignity of all individuals. As we delve into the hidden corners of the transatlantic slave trade, what emerges is not just a clearer view of the past, but a directive for the present and future. Understanding these dark chapters is crucial for reconciliation and healing. Education plays a seminal role in this process. By altering the narratives that have long dominated our understanding of history, we can begin to address the biases and misconceptions that perpetuate division and injustice. This essay is a call to action. It urges us not only to reflect on the past, but to actively engage in shaping a more just and informed world. Let us light the shadows with knowledge and compassion, forging a path that respects the truths of history and the rights of all humanity. This essay, titled Shadows of Chains, The Untold Truths of the Transatlantic Slave Trade, delves deep into the often overlooked personal accounts and lesser-known facts of the transatlantic slave trade to reveal its profound human cost and lasting impact on today's society. Through engaging and respectful exploration, this piece aims to educate and inspire meaningful change by shedding light on a dark chapter of human history.